Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Small Business Success Talk. It's Christy's Corner again. And this episode, I want to talk about what it's like to be a business owner. Now, the word entrepreneur has become very popular in the past handful of years, and it's the cool word to say when you want to start your own business and you get out there and you hustle and you want to make it grow and you want to do big and great, glorious things in the world. An entrepreneur sounds so much better than business owner. Business owner includes a lot of work. And so before I get into the meat of the conversation, which might seem a little all over the place because I have a lot of points today. So buckle up, Buttercup, because this is going to be a full but relatively short episode. I do want to thank my sponsor partners, which is Eagle Eye Strategic Marketing and Crusados Strategic Leadership Development, as well as my area chamber here in the Chamber of St. Matthews. And I would also be remiss if I didn't mention my marketing podcast network. So if you are looking for more voices, more input, more tactics and strategies, more just listening to people who are in this industry, check out the Marketing Podcast Network. We have a lot of business podcasts there, and there's a lot of really great, fun, interesting people to learn from. So highly encourage you to go check that out. In the meantime, let's get back to what is it like the day in a life of a business owner. And I've had a wonderful privilege to talk to many, many business owners on this show as well as off the show. And we all have a lot of the same struggles every single day. And a lot of those little tedious things that come along are the things that can either make or break us in a day. And when I say that, it's if if you don't like the detail work, then you're gonna get somebody to do it. If you get stuck in a project for too long and you can't go make sales, you need some help getting that done. Depending on what you really want to do with your business, are you wanting to grow it to a certain revenue level? If you are in the business by yourself, there's the potential you are capping your opportunity if you're only by yourself. And as long as you're okay with that, not a problem whatsoever. But if you want to be able to grow and scale your business, you cannot do it by yourself. So, one of the biggest things that I've learned how to do successfully is to delegate to my team and not just delegate. So, I'm also a big proponent of empowering my team members to take and run with it. I give them, here's my desired end result. Here's how I would do it. If the process needs to change, adjust accordingly so that we can get there faster and under budget. So I give them the parameters, but I'm also like, you have the better skill set for this. Please run with it. Let me know how it turns out. I'm counting on you to be successful with it. And while that probably puts a little bit of pressure on them, I kind of like them having a little bit of pressure because I see their potential. I know they've got it in them to do it. They've proven themselves in other areas. Now I'm just giving them something new to do. My team is fantastic. Now, in the part of having a team is that I no longer do some of those things that I used to do everything up. Meaning, I made a comment in one of my PSAs, my little short Instagram reels, about this cold email that I received. And I made the comment of, I don't even check my emails. Well, it's true and not true. Like, that's my grandiose statement because I don't typically have to mess with any email that is a junk email. If it's a cold email, if it's a sales reach out, if it's any of that kind of stuff, I do have a VA that comes in and cleans all that up so that I'm not lost in the distraction. If it's an important email that I need to respond to, it gets tagged like our system is. You tag it, you put it over here in this other nice, handy little box, and Christy only has to look at that spot. So while, yes, I still have to do my emails, I'm only looking at the relevant emails that I would need to touch in a day, not the hundreds that comes through, but the exact ones that like I need to be a part of. So when I make these statements out in the general population, if I have somebody who doesn't understand how having an assistant works in my email and I've made this statement, the misunderstanding is that I don't even check my email and now that's unprofessional. No, I just didn't make myself completely clear because in the moment the point was don't email me like that. Like the way that they had emailed was just not at all effective nor helpful nor yeah, it's not something that you should ever email somebody like me. And ideally the whole thing was know your target audience and don't do this kind of stupid shit. That's the point of the message, but somebody else took the misunderstood and made it a whole different topic. And that is also going to happen when you own your own business. You're going to have a circle of people that the the further out that they are away from what you do on a daily basis and what you're trying to accomplish in the world. You have a big vision of things. You're going to have those people who have no clue what you do and why you do what you do. No clue. I have a huge handful of my friends that I consider friends, acquaintances, um, that don't get it because they're an employee. I still have my days. I used to be an employee, and I still have my moments in a day where if I sit behind the computer for too long, I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me what to do. And then I have to remind myself I'm the one telling me what to do because my clients need work. But I'm just waiting on my client to tell me what they need next. No, you got other things to do, Christy. Go do those things. I get that there is a difference in how an employee views the world and how an owner views the world because we're sitting from different sides of the table. And there's nothing wrong with either one, but whenever the two are trying to understand each other or there's a lack of understanding each other, miscommunication and misunderstandings can happen. So what do you do as a business owner? Well, one, you could either take it personal and be offended, or you can just let it go. The other thing about it is if you are marketing your business really well, meaning you're including your vision, how you're getting there, why it's important to you, the impact you're making in the world, you're reminding your circle why it's important for you to do the things that you do and that you exist and that you're active. I've got a real estate friend. She's had people in her circle who she's been a realtor now for 7, 8, 9 years, something like that, a while, and very successful realtor, award-winning realtor. And she still has people in her circle that forget she's a realtor. Come on now. If you're paying the least bit of attention, you know. So misunderstandings, miscommunication can happen. And as part of, as being a business owner, that is an element that can potentially frustrate us. Getting bogged down in the details can also frustrate us. As a business owner, we have to, if you are on the path to grow your business, one of the things that is going to be potentially hard for you, depending on who you are and your experience and your belief sets and all of the things that make up you, one of the things that could potentially be a challenge is not micromanaging somebody you've asked to help you. You have to learn to let things go and trust that they have your back, that they have your best interest or the company's best interest, the client's best interest in producing the thing that you want out in the world. And it's a heart struggle. It's hard to give your ideas and put them into somebody else's hands and let them run with it. You don't know what's really going to happen. So the hardest thing is to not hover over them. I have learned to trust that my team can do the things. Now, there's also quality checks in place. I have to go back and look for a certain period of time. And then once we get to a point, then I don't have to look as much anymore. I then also have somebody on my team as a project manager who would be doing quality checks. Like they have the checking system between each of them. Because what this does is as I'm creating recruiting my dream team, if you will, as I'm recruiting and hiring a dream team, that dream team can then help create the processes that make our business great, not just functioning. I want great because great businesses are attractive businesses, meaning it takes less work and hustle and struggle and adversity just to bring one new client in. People want to be a part of what you've got going on. So, as hiring the dream team, I'm empowering them to help create these processes. Because you know what? If I'm the only one doing things in my business, I'm going to stick with those things which work for me. So, and I say that because I just had a mastermind session with the marketing mavens last week and learning from Christina. Christina is the techie of us all. I love good technology. Please don't get me wrong. I love technology, but I don't stay up on it as fast as Christina does. So she shares with us new things, and I'm watching her share some software that video software. So, but there's 3 or 4 different things, and yada yada. And already my project manager's like, "Oh, I think I found an all-in-one that does everything that she's talking about." Fantastic. You go for it. Let's figure this out. So, using these AI platforms to help streamline the production process for the video stuff is what it boils down to. I'm looking at her tech and going, wow, I'm still using this stuff over here. And while it functions, it does what I want it to do. That stuff that she's showing me is so much more advanced and way more efficient. And I'm like, I was an A-B side record. On the A side, I was like, that's really cool. That would save me so much time and money. And on the B side, I was like, shit, one more thing. I got to learn something new. And then I went, oh, no, that's for my team to do. Because the goal for me personally in my own business is to get away from the computer so much. I need to create content. I need to have strategy sessions with my clients. I need to be the people front facing person. The only way to get me there is to let go of projects and detail work. So thus the dream team. And it was really funny that I also start feeling we start talking about technology and platforms and things that we need for processes and to do the things that we want to do. And they're like, "Oh, we could do this." And I was like, I caught myself. Well, how much is that going to cost? And well, how much is that going to cost? How much is that going to cost? So like, tag on it. I just feel like the parent whose kid keeps coming and asking for money to go out and do fun things, and I'm the one making the money. And I'm like, that's what this feels like. That was a new sensation for me. And I'm like, oh, this is business ownership. Okay, got it. Understood. I've got to adjust the budget and make sure we've got enough for new software as it comes along. And somebody's going to have to monitor our software, our tech stack, as my project manager calls it, our tech stack. So, what technology am I using that I need to pay for? And what technology am I paying for that I'm not using that needs to come off the bills, right? So lowering those expenses, you need to take an inventory of that on a regular basis. And that's a detail I really don't want to get stuck in. So my dream team project manager will help with that. And we just onboarded a new executive assistant as well. And she is going to be fantastic because she's local. We can have her show up with us, be another me if I need it in the local area networking. But she can be hands-on. She can actually help with my physical detail work, like, my stacks of filing that's just kind of laying all over the place that you don't see on this camera because nobody needs to see that. So some other things that I have over on my proverbial white, it's not proverbial, it's a real whiteboard, and I have all kinds of color-coded notes over there. But when we talk about having people misinterpret or misunderstand what we're trying to do, and as a business owner, kind of what our life looks like, my realtor friend, she calls it, business owners always have to hustle. Well, it depends on your definition of hustle. I've learned to create some balance. I know when I need to take a break, and I will take a break. I know when I need to get away from people and processes and details to be able to recharge so that I'm, working at optimal for my clients and people that I work strategy with. Because if Christy's walking around in confusion and exhaustion, that is not helpful to people who need me to show up at my best. So I have to take care of that. And sometimes people don't understand. And there was a situation, and there's always going to be situations where we make decisions that don't make sense to other people because our process and decision making is different than what they would do. And this has become a topic of conversation for me in my friend set, in that I don't understand why you do that. Well, you don't have to understand it, but just please respect it. Like, just don't get judgy about it, and we're going to be fine. And I can explain it if you want me to, but if I don't have, like, just be okay. So I know the life I'm creating and my business is going to support that. It's not a complicated life at all. I want to travel and experience more. I don't need to have stuff, because then you have to pack it up and move it if you move to a new space. And I also don't want to have to clean all of the little tchotchkes. I'm not a big collector of stuff. I've curbed that over my life. But I am a collector of people and experiences. I love to hear people's stories. That's the show. And I also love to go experience new areas and learn history and be in nature. And, well, yeah, Disney is my typical go-to for me to, like, just go play and have some fun. My recreation time and my way to think differently is definitely Disney. But I love other things too. And ideally, as I add more speaking gigs and training gigs across the states, I will be able to add travel to that, and it just makes sense. So my business model supports the life I want to create. And in the meantime, eventually the house will come with that, the pool with the view, the other little things that might seem a little extraneous to others. I'm like, oh no, I know I would love to have a really nice view to sit outside and drink my coffee in the morning on the swing, looking out over a body of water. Now, ideally, that would be my own pool. And then beyond that might be a lake. Kind of like that idea. Don't know if there's one around here for that, but these are the things that I have a desire for. These are part of my personal dreams. Now, how does the business support that? Well, once the dream team's in place, we're bringing in more business. Christy gets paid more, and then Christy gets to go do what she wants to do in creating that rhythm of a life that I want to experience. But you're going to have people who are like, why would you pay so much for that experience? So if I decide I want to go do something, I I might pay a little bit more because it's providing me the experience I want to have. And other people may be like, well, that's just too much money to spend. Well, sure, it might seem expensive, but if the experience checks off 90% of the boxes, then I'm just going to work a little bit more, bring in some more clients, sell some more widgets, and give myself a little of the difference. So this falls under, why should I have to lower the expenses instead of increasing the budget? So I know that my new goal for revenue is an additional X versus lower the expectation, lower the expense of the experience. And so there's some of those kinds of ways in which we are making the decisions that may not make sense to anybody else. And these are the things that as business owners, we don't talk enough about, because if we get into a group of people that don't understand us or what's happening or what we're trying to accomplish in the world, you might feel like you're being attacked. You're not. Feelings are not reality. It's not the reality of the situation. But how do you center yourself and be mindful of your own thing in the middle of that? Like how to stay calm, not frustrated, you know, don't don't come back at them and try to explain everything. They don't, like, it's no big deal. Like they're more concerned about themselves anyway than you. But it's truly are you centered enough in your own business to know what you're trying to accomplish in life with this business? How is it going to impact the world? This is another reason I love to work in strategy, because I help people create the foundation and their centering point so that they have something to come back to when something else drives them crazy and distracts them in this whirlwind kind of a way and puts them off course. They know how to get back on course. So why, let's see, why would you have of my other notes? Misinterpretations and misunderstandings. And I think that's kind of going to be what I'm going to wrap that up, because I have another note on the board. I was like looking at that note and going, that is a way longer story than this episode has time for. So we'll save that one for a different day and a different episode, because that one's going to fall under what not to do. So as a business owner, build your dream team. Like, if the first thing to do as a business owner, when you realize, okay, I'm owning this business, I'm not just the entrepreneur making it sound cool. This is the daily monotony, tedious stuff of running and owning the business. The legal side of things. I have sit here this week alone and spent a good 5 hours on governmental paperwork, accounting things. And I'm like, okay, somebody else needs to be in all of this. Just filling out the ridiculous survey thing that the government says is required by law for me to do. I was cussing them the entire time. My password for that is not mentionable on the airwaves. I just was livid. And I feel like the amount of time it took me to do that, that I know it just cannot possibly be that important that it needs to be law. I should bill them for that. Like, it is lost time. I can't get the time back. There's not a thing about this that is needed for me to run my business, but the government requires it. Just like, a bunch of other things that take me away from my main role within my own business, and it can get frustrating. So as a business owner, we have all of these other roles we never anticipated. Now we have to do them all. Legal, financial, we have to clean our own environment, meaning somebody's taking out the trash and doing those dishes out of the refrigerator. Since I'm a home business, yeah, that's all me for sure. If you have another, brick and mortar and you've got people around, you're probably still the one taking the trash out. I've got other clients that they do that. If if you're doing everything in the business, stop it. If you want your business to grow, you need to get some help. So if you really want your business to grow and you want to eventually scale it, I would recommend write out what you think your org chart would be. So if your business was running at optimal levels to accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish with your business, chart out your org chart. How many roles do you need to have, and what kind of people would fill those roles? So, for example, when I first started this little method, I knew I was going to need a graphic designer. I needed a social media person. I needed an assistant. I needed video production. So all of the things that are the bulk of what I do, I charted out as if they were separate roles. So do the same for your own business. Chart it out for the separate roles. And then do you have people who can fill those roles even part-time to get started? So say you don't have the budget yet to hire the entire dream team. Who would make the most impact quickly, even at the part-time level, and you go after that person first. And then you start working your way into just continuing to add on. I started a few years ago, I started with one part-time person. I've had some turnover since then, but now I am up to one, two, three, four. A, a VA, project manager, graphic designer, and executive assistant. So four, and I'm getting ready to bring on a client care and a client care coordinator, social media coordinator. That'll be my next person. So I would recommend that being your first step, because usually that gives you a little bit more clarity on where you want to take the team and who needs to come next. And then I would highly recommend you get a coach to help you walk through those times when your team may frustrate you and it's actually you causing your own frustration. That's a thing as well. So don't be afraid to reach out. If you have concerns or anything, you're like, hey, I have a question about this. What would you do in this situation? Please contact me. I'm happy to share any advice, insights that I have, or I can bring somebody on if you don't want to listen to me about it. So with that, that is my moment for the day from Christy's Corner about what it's like to be a business owner. That's just a few points. There's hundreds more. I'm sure we can do this again on another date. And until the next episode, I hope you have a wonderful, super time over in your neck of the woods. And we'll see you again on the next episode of Small Business Success Talk. Bye, everybody.